Day 71, read the Bible in a year. Deuteronomy 3 and 4. Deuteronomy 3. Then we turned and went up the way to Bashan. Og the king of Bashan came out against us, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. The Lord said to me, "Don't fear him, for I have delivered him with all his people and his land into your hand. You shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon." So the Lord our God also delivered into our hand Og the king of Bashan and all his people. We struck him until no one was left to him remaining. We took all his cities at that time. There was not a city which we didn't take from them. 60 cities. All the region of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Bashan. All these were cities fortified with high walls, gates, and bars, in addition to a great many villages without walls. We utterly destroyed them, as we did to Sihon, king of Heshbon, utterly destroying every inhabited city, with the women and the little ones. But all the livestock and the plunder of the cities we took for plunder for ourselves. We took the land at that time out of the hand of the 2 kings of the Amorites, who were beyond the Jordan, from the valley of the Arnon to Mount Hermon. The Sidonians call Hermon Sirion, and the Amorites call it Sinir. We took all the cities of the plain, and all Gilead, and all Bashan, to Salcah and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan. For only Og king of Bashan remained of the remnant of the Rephaim. His bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Isn't it in Rabbah of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was its length, and 4 cubits its width, after the cubit of a man. This land we took in possession at that time, from Oror, which is by the valley of the Arnon, and half the hill country of Gilead with its cities. I gave to the Reubenites and to the Gadites, and the rest of Gilead and all Bashan, the kingdom of Og, I gave to the half-tribe of Manasseh, all the region of Argob, even all Bashan. The same is called the land of Rephaim. Jair, the son of Manasseh, took all the region of Argob to the border of the Gershurites and the Maachites, and called them, even Bashan, after his own name, Havoth Jair, to this day. I gave Gilead to Machir. To the Reubenites and to the Gadites I gave from Gilead even to the valley of the Arnon, the middle of the valley and its border, even to the river Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon. The Arabah also, and the Jordan and its border, from Chinnereth even to the sea of the Arabah, the salt sea, under the slopes of Pisgah eastward. I commanded you at that time, saying, "The Lord your God has given you this land to possess it. All of you men of valor shall pass over armed before your brothers, the children of Israel. But your wives and your little ones and your livestock, I know that you have much livestock, shall live in your cities which I have given you, until the Lord gives rest to your brothers as to you, and they also possess the land which the Lord your God gives them beyond the Jordan. Then you shall each return to his own possession, which I have given you." I commanded Joshua at that time, saying, "Your eyes have seen all that the Lord your God has done to these 2 kings. So shall the Lord do to all the kingdoms where you go. You shall never fear them, for the Lord your God himself fights for you." I begged God at that time, saying, "Lord God, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your strong hand. For what God is there in heaven or in earth that can do works like yours and mighty acts like yours? Please let me go over and see the good land that is beyond the Jordan, that fine mountain and Lebanon." But the Lord was angry with me because of you and didn't listen to me. The Lord said to me, "That is enough. Speak no more to me of this matter. Go up to the top of Pisgah and lift up your eyes westward and northward and southward and eastward, and see with your eyes, for you shall not go over this Jordan. But commission Joshua and encourage him and strengthen him, for he shall go over before this people, and he shall cause them to inherit the land which you shall see. So he stayed in the valley near Beth Peor.
Deuteronomy chapter 4. Now, Israel, listen to the statutes and to the ordinances which I teach you, to do them, that you may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord, the God of your fathers, gives you. You shall not add to the word which I command you, neither shall you take away from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did because of Baal Peor, for the Lord your God has destroyed all the men who followed Baal Peor from among you. But you who were faithful to the Lord your God are all alive today. Behold, I have taught you statutes and ordinances, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that you should do so in the middle of the land where you go in to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples, who shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has a God so near to them as the Lord our God? Whenever we call on him, what great nation is there that has statutes and ordinances so righteous as all this law which I set before you today? Only be careful and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes saw, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. But make them known to your children and your children's children, the day that you stood before the Lord your God in Horeb, when the Lord said to me, assemble the people to me, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live on the earth, and that they may teach their children. You came near and stood under the mountain burnt with fire, to the heart of the sky with darkness, a cloud, and thick darkness. The Lord spoke to you out of the middle of the fire. You heard the voice of words, but you saw no form. You only heard a voice. He declared to you with his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even the 10 Commandments. He wrote them on 2 stone tablets. The Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and ordinances, that you might do them in the land where you go over to possess it. Be very careful, for you saw no kind of form on that day that the Lord spoke to you in Horeb, out of the middle of the fire, lest you corrupt yourselves and make yourself a carved image in the form of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any animal that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged bird that flies in the sky, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the water under the earth, and lest you lift your eyes to the sky. And when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the army of the sky, you are drawn away and worship them and serve them, which the Lord your God has allotted to all the people under the whole sky. But the Lord has taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be to him a people of inheritance, as it is today. Furthermore, the Lord was angry with me for your sakes, and swore that I should not go over the Jordan, and that I should not go in to that good land which the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance. But I must die in this land. I must not go over to the Jordan. But you shall go over and possess the good land. Be careful, lest you forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he made with you, and make yourselves a carved image in the form of anything which the Lord your God has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is a devouring fire, a jealous God. When your father, children, and children's children, and you have been long in the land, and then corrupt yourselves and make a carved image in the form of anything, and do that which is evil in the Lord your God's sight, to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today, that you will soon utterly perish from off the land. which you go over the Jordan to possess it. You will not prolong your days on it, but will be utterly destroyed. The Lord will scatter you among the peoples, and you will be left few in numbers among the nations where the Lord will lead you away, where you will serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. But from there you shall seek the Lord your God, and you will find him when you search after him with all your heart and with all your soul. When you are in oppression, and all these things have come on you, in the later days you shall return to the Lord your God and listen to his voice. For the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not fail you, nor destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers which he swore to them. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before you since the day that God created man on the earth, and from the one end of the sky to the other, whether there has been anything as great as this thing is, or has been heard like it. Did a people ever hear the voice of God speaking out of the middle of the fire, as you have heard, and live? Or has God tried to go and take a nation for himself from amongst another nation by trials and signs, by wonders, by war, by mighty hand, by an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? It was shown to you that you might know the Lord is God. There is no one else beside him. Out of heaven he made you hear his voice, that he might instruct you on earth. He made you to see his great fire, and you heard the words out of the middle of the fire because he loved your fathers. Therefore he chose their offspring after them and brought you out with his presence, with his great power out of Egypt, to drive out nations from before you greater and mightier than you, to bring you in and give you their land for an inheritance, as it is today. Know therefore today and take it to heart that the Lord himself is God in heaven above and on the earth beneath. There is no one else. You shall keep his statutes and his commandments, which I command you today, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which the Lord your God gives you for all time. Then Moses set apart 3 cities beyond the Jordan towards the sunrise, that the manslayer might flee there, who kills his neighbor unintentionally and didn't hate him in time past, and that fleeing to one of these cities he might live. Bezer in the wilderness, in the plain country, for the Reubenites, and Ramoth in Gilead for the Gadites, and Golan in Bashan for the Manassites. This is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the ordinance which Moses spoke to the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt beyond the Jordan, in the valley opposite Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived at Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel struck when they came out of Egypt. They took possession of his land and the land of Og, king of Bashan. The 2 kings of the Amorites, who were beyond the Jordan towards the sunrise, from Aror, which is on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, even to Mount Zion, also called Hermon, and all the Arabah beyond the Jordan eastward, even to the sea of the Arabah, under the slopes of Pisgah.
What part stood out to you the most?
I think it's sad that Moses isn't going to go into the land.
Yeah.
That's what stood out to me the most. Just thinking of all his service to God and knowing that he wasn't going in. And God said, no, don't test me on this.
Yeah.
You can go up to the mountain and look and see east, north, south. You see all this land.
He was still hoping that God was going to change his mind. He kept saying, are you going to change your mind? And God didn't. He didn't. He changed, Moses was able to change God's mind when it came to the Israelites. He was going to kill them all at different times. He just killed a portion of them or stopped the plague when Moses had prayed to him. But for this thing, when Moses struck the rock twice, God was like, no. it was too much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was because I think that it was because he was a leader, because he was the leader of the people, and he did something that he shouldn't have done in front of all the people.
He was the leader, but he didn't show honor to God as the leader.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing.
At that moment.
We need to honor God if we're leaders. If we have any type of role or responsibility in any way, God always must be honored.
And I think also, too, it seemed like he wasn't taking the responsibility 100% as well, because he was like, they did this. Because of them, I'm not going well. It wasn't actually because of them. It was, they might have caused him to stumble ultimately, but ultimately it was him who made that decision to disobey God. And it was something that God there was things that he is merciful, he's full of grace, but he has the line drawn for certain things. And he's like, you can stand up, look the east, west, north, and south and see it, but you're not crossing.
Yeah, I don't think it's a story of his eternal salvation. I think it was just showing disobedience has a consequence.
Mm-hmm. In our lifetimes.
In our lifetimes, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, because we do see him later on with Jesus, right?
Yeah,
Moses is there with Jesus, so, he made it to heaven. But also, he warned the people and he encouraged the people. He reminded them of all the things that God had done. So he still, even though he knew that he wasn't going to go to the promised land, he still kept doing what he needed to be doing. He was still the leader. Mm-hmm. And he didn't let that stop him from leading them and from encouraging them and inspiring them. God did this, he did that, he took this city, he took that city. Remember, it was walled. And then he talks about the giant, the one giant, and how the giant's bed was 13 feet tall, and it was 6 feet wide. And that's 2 times the size of Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal, right? Shaq. So he was huge. I mean, if he took up that bed, which probably he took up most of it, and it was iron because that's probably the only thing that would hold him, it means that he was huge, or that group of people, they were huge. They were giants.
Sure, yeah.
So there were actually giants on the land at one point. It's not just a fairy tale. There were actually giants that were on the land.
I don't know. I when I get to this part in the Bible, I just get excited thinking, what's going to happen next? They're about to enter the promised land.
Yeah.
This land that has been promised for their forefathers and their ancestors past, and they're about to go in.
And they're getting encouraged. Moses is saying to them, you're going to go to battle. You're going to win. Just like you won, just like God won in the past with these different people. He's going to win against these people, against this group of people. So it's like a pep talk. It reminded me of when you see a basketball team or a football team.
Championship.
Yeah, in a championship game about to go in, and the coach is there, or certain people are there giving a pep talk, getting them like, yeah, you can do this. So he was giving them courage. He was encouraging them. And God also said, talk to Joshua, get him prepared. Prepare him because he's going to pass. You're not going to pass. He is. And he obeyed God and did it.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So, what do we see in God's character here? We see a lot of mercy, grace. He's about to give them the promised land. We see his convictions, how he stands on things that he says he's going to do.
Yeah, he wants people to be his own. He doesn't want them, Moses warns them. He says, don't make anything, because God's bigger. He's better than any man, woman, child, any animal in the earth, in the sea, whatever. Even in the heavenly bodies in the sky, God's better. The God that we have is better.
That's great.
See you again next time.